All right, episode 7, Backstage with OSO. Myself, Jake, and Andrew here today. And today we are going over a wide range of everything we've been up to this week. So we got an upcoming music video shoot this weekend for the J-Dub project and the Riley Ella project, which we talk about some of the things that were involved in that and some things that we probably didn't allow for when we were sort of planning initially. So yeah, we go over that as well as what we're doing to level up the J-Dub shows. Also, a little bit of a mental health check-in, as well as going over like some of the mindset and some of our key takeaways from the week, as well as changing up our routine, which has been a bit of a game changer for us, which has been really good. The other thing we've gone right into is OSO Sounds. So OSO Sounds is the sample packs, preset packs, and all the stuff that we do on the music production side of things on 17 Online.
And we also talk about Grant Cardone and his 10X rule. We've been listening to a lot of podcasts from Grant and also watching some TV series about him and how we've interpreted his 10X rule and applied it to everything we're doing right now. And it's been really good for us just to fix, I guess, and also readjust our mindset. We also talk about the OSO movement drop number 2, which will be coming out not at the end of this week, the week after, so 2 weeks from the podcast date. And we also talk about myself and my role as a manager / tour manager with Jake's upcoming show and shows going forward and what I'm going to do to ensure that Jake's brand is elevated to the next level.
Hell yeah. With that said, let's get straight into it.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Backstage with OSO. This is episode 7, and today you're here with Andrew and Jake, and we're going to be talking about what we've been doing this week. So, Jake, what have you been up to?
Man, it's been one of them weeks where it's just been random as hell. We have done a little bit of everything this week, which I'm not complaining about because, yeah, creatively I like to, not get content, not get bored. So we definitely haven't done any of that. But main priority this week has been setting up for the video shoot, which is going down this, I'm going to say Friday night, but really it's Saturday morning at like 2 a.m. because that was the time that we could get at the said location that we don't want to disclose yet. I just don't want to give too much away for this. But it's been a crazy week of organizing props, people, special effects, all this other stuff, man. So yeah, the props were probably the random start of it, man. So take them through it, bro. What have we grabbed?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty crazy. Everything from branding, hoodies, which is what we did today, to branding baseball bats and just a lot of unique props, and then just putting little OSO tags on it just to kind of give it that next level of...
We're looking like a Supreme store out here, man. Yeah, we're like one brick away from a Supreme store, dude.
Yeah,
like,
it's a bit like that.
It kind of looks badass, though, but it's like really subliminal kind of branding.
Yeah, 100%.
Within the shoot.
Yeah, no, it's been, first and foremost, mad respect to anyone that does videography and creates film shoots and video shoots full time, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you don't realize until you start doing it, from like getting things like fake blood and driving 20 fucking kilometers out of the way just to get a little can. It's like just things like that you don't think about. So we hope we've got everything we need, because come Saturday 2 a.m. there's
it's nothing open, man. So
beside maybe a Macca's coffee or
yeah, like it's been random, man. Like there's a lot more planning than what I initially kind of thought. So I'm really glad that we have someone directing this shoot, and it's not like just us kind of pissing in the wind going like stand here to do that, or
100%.
Or like one of them photographers, like anyone who's ever got press shots done would feel this, like, and if one more photographer says this to me, stand there, just be yourself. That's the worst thing you can possibly say to anyone, unless they're a model. I'm awkward in front of a camera, so that is terrible advice. So thank God we got a director for this thing. So hopefully everything's going to look elite. I feel very confident we've really, crossed all the T's, dotted all the I's, like really gone down to the attention to detail. So I hope that really shines through, and yeah, it looks sick.
Yeah, I think it's going to all shine through pretty well. And for the people listening, you'll start seeing the content coming out of the shoot this Saturday. You'll probably start seeing it in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. We're going to collect all the assets. And like we've been saying in previous podcasts, we're kind of putting it into a full bundle, which is what we're going to be using for the whole marketing of the Riley and Jake's track that's coming out, which is in conjunction with the music video or music promotional video,
So
rather.
we'll do like a full rollout of everything together.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be crazy. Yeah, it's hard not to say exactly what it is. It's hard to say it but not say it, but yeah.
And it's also annoying. I don't want to be one of them people saying big things coming, because it's like, no, we've actually done the work. You just haven't seen it yet. So we had that discussion just before. I'm like, I don't want to like lead to things that we like, but then you made the point of we've already done these things, so it's not like you're saying that we're doing it. It's like we have done it.
It's been done. We just haven't shown the product yet, which is cool.
Yeah.
I guess another big thing this week has been completely switching up the routine. I know that we're both notoriously not necessarily morning people, but I can't remember how we decided this, but we're like, let's start doing gym at 6:30 before work.
Yeah, I think like last week we were trying to get like more hours in the day.
Yeah.
As we're constantly running out of hours in the day, and we end up staying here till ridiculous hours of the night, and we're just like, all right, like I think we got in a couple of hours earlier. I think we got in at 7 one morning, and then we saw how much more we could achieve.
Yeah.
And we're just like, we should do this every day.
That's right. Yeah.
And then that then turned into a Sunday night call, like just talking about work before Monday.
Yeah.
We're pretty good at that, actually. We do actually plan out our week semi-decent. And then we're just like, gym tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I was probably still hungover, but I was just like feeling bad, and I was like, all right, we got to do it. So yeah, I'm glad we did though. So yeah, 4 days in a row, boys.
It's almost a habit.
Yeah, it's almost a habit. So that's actually been really good though in the morning, like first thing in the morning, just getting up, getting active straight away. And then we've actually been going and having coffee and just a bite to eat straight after that. And then we actually like discuss the day, set out our goals for the day. And it's like, okay, what's priority, what isn't? Because when we're having these weeks at the moment where everything is everywhere and it kills my OCD brain, and I'm sure yours as well, that 100%. We have so many half-finished tasks or like things that we're 80% on, but it's just that little bit, and it's just like, shit. It's so easy to get lost in the mix, and thank God we write everything down, because if we didn't, we'd have a lot of problems. So
the stack of whiteboards is slowly growing.
It is, man. But it's been good, man. Like I think like one of the takeaways from this week that I think we've noticed pulling each other up on a lot is actually, not so much like having digs at each other for staying on task, but it's like, okay, what is a priority?
Yeah.
And I think we've been doing that pretty well this week.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even today, like I was... On that note, we've finally finalised the OSO movement, drop number 2.
Drop 2 coming, baby.
2. So I was mucking around on Illustrator, fixing the front aspect of the design, and I spent 3 hours doing something that in my head should have only taken like maybe 5-10 minutes, because I'm new to Illustrator. I can do it in Photoshop, but it needed to be in Illustrator to get the vector quality. Yeah, so that was one of those situations where it was like, I should have known 30 minutes into this that, okay, it's not worth the extra 2.5 hours to still not even get it done. I should have just outsourced that 5 minutes worth of work.
Yeah.
Or, send it to someone or send it directly to the team to get shit done. But yeah, we just...
Yeah, it was just one of them things. And then I came back from, I had to dip out and go to a meeting. And then, when I came back, I was just like, oh, shit, just send it to someone else. And it's just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, it's just like that snap. But I guess that's a positive and a negative of us is we'll try and take on everything.
Yeah.
And minimize outsourcing to the max.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, drop 2. Drop 2 is looking fire. This is my favorite thing we've done to date on the OSO movement.
100%.
Like, I'm genuinely excited about this. Like,
it's gonna be crazy.
Like some of the, I don't know, can we talk about like some of the aspects?
Yeah, I reckon. Because it'll be dropping in about a week and a half, maybe from today.
Yeah.
So everyone will start seeing the assets online. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like some of the cool things that we've got a lot of symbolism and stuff like that. But I think the coolest thing is, I know I've put you on the spot here, and I know you definitely don't have it up on your computer, and you're probably like, oh yeah, sick, we got to explain that. So how are you going to go with this? So we actually have some Chinese symbols on this design. And Andy is semi-fluent. Would you say semi-fluent or fluent?
I'd say I'm on the way. I'm still got a lot to learn. But yeah, I'm working towards it.
Yeah. So Andy does tutoring once a week, twice a week.
Twice a week. Twice a week at the moment.
And what's the ultimate goal with that?
Essentially, I out of high school, originally I wanted to be, I was working throughout, actually out of high school when I started studying law, I wanted to be a lawyer in Australia, get my experience necessary, and then transfer over and work in China as a foreign lawyer. But ultimately the goals changed throughout high school, and then entering the music industry dragged me in. I haven't left since, but I still continued studying purely because I just wanted it's just been a goal to get fluent. And also I think that moving forward, the future's going to have a lot of opportunities for cross promotion and collaboration between English speaking and not first language English speaking people, especially in Asian countries and in particular China. And there's also lots of opportunities in China for non-Chinese DJs, producers to go over and, network and collaborate and make money, and all sorts of different avenues of just improving their brand and I guess everything. So I've kind of just now still want to learn Chinese, but almost for a different reason. Yeah. So the ultimate goal is to eventually move over to China for a short period of time. Yep. Just kind of get myself
more fluent.
Yeah, more
would
fluent.
You say? I don't know.
Yeah, kind of just get engulfed in the culture and just be there and live it. Yeah. Because that'll definitely help me get to a fluency level. Yeah. The biggest problem at the moment is, yes, I get tutored twice a week, and yes, I try to a little bit here and there, but I'm not speaking Chinese every day. Yeah. So it's hard to keep improving, because I feel like I'll learn new grammar every week, but then I'm losing a little bit every week at the same time. So I'm not progressing at a rate that I like. Yeah. Whereas I went to China for a law trip in uni, which was about 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks, I progressed, I reckon, at least 5%, which is major, considering how long I've been studying it for. And that was only a 2-week period, because I didn't need to go order my coffee in Chinese at Starbucks because they spoke English, but I'm in China, so it's kind of acceptable for me to go do that. Yeah. And so then I just used every opportunity to practice.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Yeah. That's actually crazy. What grade were you in school when you started this?
I've been studying Chinese since I was probably year 1 or 2, but I started it was the mandatory Chinese classes. Then when I switched schools, they didn't have Chinese, and I probably started studying it probably year 7 or 8 is when I actually got into it properly. Yeah. And then I made the decision in my mind that I wanted to get fluent probably year 9, 10, and that's when I started taking it seriously and got a tutor and started doing out of school hours. Yeah
that's a huge commitment, man.
100%.
A lot of people aren't even good at English, so that's actually that is awesome, man. I know I got off topic with that, but hopefully I killed enough time for you to find what we were looking for.
So the quote on the shirt it's a Chinese idiom, so it's Ni Jing Shu Ren Cai, which essentially means or loosely translates to rebellion creates capability, and also kind of hardship and adversity fosters talent. So it's kind of this whole message about, going the easy route. Yes, you can get talented doing that, but nothing that we do, from what I see, is easy. Everything we're doing is hard because we're doing it for the first time and learning along the way. So I see it as, everything's freaking hard right now because we're just teaching ourselves everything. And by doing everything and making it harder and doing hard things and not just taking the easy route, we're fostering talent and we're learning along the way. So it's kind of...
ties into our moral compass right
100%.
Now as well. I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, but it sounded really fluent when I said that. So I like that.
No, 100%. But, so that's on the shirt, and then the whole design of the shirt somewhat represents what that idiom represents. Yeah,
which is super cool. Then there's some other cool little unique characters. We got the longitude, latitude. Is there an actual technical name for that?
No, I think it's the geographic location,
Geographic location? I never should have doubted myself. So we got that on there, and if you could be bothered to actually Google it, it's exactly where we are. So, it's 100%. A cool little spot on the Gold Coast here in Australia.
Yeah, so, I think, we were so confused in where we wanted this design to go, and it kind of changed a few times, but I think how it's turned out is it's going to be really, really cool, and people are going to like it.
Yeah, especially with, I guess where our mindsets have been over the past couple of weeks as well. I feel like I think my mindset and my mental health has been a little bit of a crisis mode sort of in personal life, just from different events, but work-wise I feel super dialed in, which is really good. But I think just these change in routines and these things that we're trying to do, it's we're not sitting here feeling sorry for ourselves at the same time. It's just we are taking action to kind of, to change where we currently are. So, and that ties straight back into the...
I think that's a huge thing that's extremely prevalent in the industry right now is the whole victim mentality.
Yeah.
It's like every other day you'll see something on Facebook or Instagram or
today, for example.
Yeah, where someone's like, oh, why is this happening? It should be this. It's like, or like, why aren't I getting this? Like, and why does that person get it instead of me? It's like, okay. Like, and we did touch on this briefly during the Bread Gang podcast, but it's like everyone's been there. Like we've done this several times where we'll be like, shit, why didn't we get that?
Yeah.
But now what I think we've learned to do really well is, why didn't we get that? Okay, cool. So we're going to do everything in our power to get that. And if we can't, we'll just get the next best thing, or we'll get the better thing. We'll work harder and outdo it.
And see, that's what I love about this as well is like, even this week I caught myself saying, and I was saying something about, oh, we're just waiting on this, we're waiting on that. And then I think when we started talking out loud to each other, when we were having one of our regular meets of just reassessing our day, we're just like, okay, fuck it, why don't we do it ourselves?
Yeah.
And I think we keep getting into this mind space, which is good because we're willing to do the work. Whereas I think a lot of people aren't. So, it's quite interesting. But in saying that, also, we are getting better at delegating as well and getting the correct stuff. But that kind of flows on to, what we were doing this week when it came to when we're organising the tour stuff as well.
Yeah.
So you want to run through that one a little bit more on like what we were sort of looking into this week, or I've probably just jumped ahead 10 steps because my triple shot of coffee is just on right now, dude.
I think that segues perfectly because, we've both looked at the J-Dub project from an outside perspective and we've gone, okay, like how do we level this up? Like how do we consistently ensure that we're above everyone in the game, regardless of what category in the scene it is. Like we're doing to our best ability with the resources that we have.
Yes.
Now we're not millionaires, so we can't afford to hire a full videographer team and a full digital marketing agency to do everything every day. So what we've done is gone, okay, what resources do we have? We have Jake and we've got Andrew, and
we find this every day.
And we've got a small amount of money. So how do we invest that money and invest our time and maximize the return on that?
Exactly.
So essentially what we've come to the conclusion of is that when J-Dub plays shows, I'm going to come along as manager/tour manager, and not just to come along and meet people and have a chat and connect with people, but also as the social media /videographer /photographer to an extent,
editing, content creation,
to everything. So basically how we've envisioned this is, I'll come along, I'll be a part of everything, but also I'm going to be, I'm not going to call it vlogging, but it's almost like a recap video of the whole night opposed to just the show. So we'll be doing, backstage, meeting with promoters, meeting with, fans, meeting with people in the club, having a chat, and then also taking some videos of Jake actually playing. And then also photos and videos after the show. And then I'll be either that night or the next morning or on the plane home, hungover, piecing that all together, and and there'll be a recap video for basically every single show Jake plays from this point forward. Yeah,
see, and this is insane, and this is something that we've both really wanted for this project. Like, I've always dreamed of having, like a full production team and a full, thing like that. And instead of going like, I guess like the old mentality would be like, oh, I can't wait till I get to that level. It's just like, okay, what do we have right now? And that's exactly what we've done. Is just like, okay, exactly what you said. There's two of us. You point and shoot.
100%.
I'll perform, and let's collate it at the end of the night or the next morning or whatever, and then we can get the content straight back, because there's nothing more frustrating from being a performer and you hire a videographer or you hire a photographer, or if you don't actually hire one and then you're relying on the club's footage, and then maybe they were only shooting photos of drinks that night and you didn't even get any photos anyway.
100%.
So then you're waiting for content, and they're like, I'm impatient as hell, man. Like most of the decisions we make, they're very, very direct and can, happening. So I think this is going to be a massive level up, and you just got to look at the teams above us that actually have money and a lot more resources and stuff. But we're like, man, if we can do this on a small scale, let's
build
do it
up.
Yeah.
And this isn't, and our vision isn't, photographers and videographers don't do anything, their job's easy, so we can just do it. And
Yeah,
it's not
no.
like that at all, because when Jake's playing a huge show, we'll also get a videographer to capture the
100%.
show aspect, because the equipment that we're going to have isn't going to be the best, because we can't afford it, and
Balling on
it
a
doesn't make
budget,
sense.
baby.
Yeah, balling on a budget, and it doesn't make sense to buy it right now. And also keeping in mind that, you know, not that everything's about money, but I like to think of things from a business perspective a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm coming on as like a quote unquote tour manager. It's not like clubs are immediately going to be like, oh yeah, cool, you got a tour manager, here's an extra grand. That's not going to happen. And we don't expect that to happen. So the early stages, like, I'm paying my own way to get there. So like we're not recouping a lot of this money.
Yeah,
so it's
no,
like
it's a lot of outlay investment.
yeah. So, and also like buying a camera, video camera, and then, you know, buying all the necessary
Accessories?
accessories.
Accessories,
Jeez,
yeah.
That was a struggle.
We got there, bro.
Yeah,
we got there.
Yeah, so it's like buying all those things and, you know, expecting to, you know, not recoup that money back straight away. But the whole point is we're coming in and we're providing so much more value than the club's actually paying for, so that when we come back around that next time, they will appreciate the next price.
Exactly.
And that's how we're justifying everything that we're doing.
And like on that note as well, like you just touched on before, we're not trying to be videographers, we're not trying to be photographers. And even if you looked at my Instagram stories this week, I'm doing graphic design and, man, making merchandise and stuff. And like all these random props and stuff, you must think like, I don't know, it may look from an outside perspective like, hey, these guys aren't even doing music. But I'm like, I only put like these little things on my story because I think they're cool and interesting, rather than me just like EQing a snare for hours or something like that.
100%. Or me on AI for 3 hours trying to edit a line.
Exactly, man. So it's just like, I don't know, like we show a little bit of behind the scenes on Instagram, but it's definitely not the reality, because we're doing far more than that. And just to really touch on that point is, we're not trying to be a clothing company. We're not trying to be graphic designers. We're just like, okay, what can we do with the resources we have? We're willing to work. Let's work until we actually have a budget, and we have a better idea as well, that we don't get taken for a ride by, you know, someone who's not up to the job or doesn't align with our vision. And yeah, until we get a good team around us and stuff like that, and we can afford to have a team as well. It's like, do it ourselves, keep it in-house, do the maximum we can with what we have. And yeah, really just a no excuses mentality, which is, let's talk about 10X.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Interesting topic. I mean, we've both been watching like a show called Undercover Billionaire, and a lot of the quotes and a lot of the chats that we've had as a result of that show have been around the guy Grant Cardone, who's the 10X guy. If you haven't searched him up, you might be a fan, you might hate his work. Like, it's up to
the 10X
your
rule.
Interpretation.
Grant Cardone, what would you say? Property developer? He's like worth $2 billion?
Yeah, property developer, essentially crowd funds large amounts of capital and buys low-risk property assets, generally residential buildings, or I don't think it's commercial. I think it's purely residential. Low risk commercial. Low risk residential rather, and just crowdfunds all the money and then saves the banking aspect of everything. And he seems to be doing pretty well from it. So we've been taking away a lot of things from him. So I think the biggest thing that we've kind of taken away, that I've taken away at least even today, is the whole don't blame. It's like we've said before, the victim mentality. Like, it's easy he uses an example, you know, the power goes out in your house and you go and blame you go blame the council, you go blame everyone else but yourself. And it's like, well, you know, that isn't necessarily your fault, but at the same time it is your fault, because you could have prevented that. You could have had a generator in your house. And then he goes on to say, you know, the first excuse is, I can't afford a generator. But it's like, okay, well, if you can't afford a generator, like, that's okay, but then you've also got to factor in that then maybe you can't work from home for those 3 days, and then you can't feed your family for those 3 days because everything in your fridge has just gone off, and all these other things that are actually maybe potentially more costly than purchasing a generator in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And that it's so interesting, and we come across it like in everyday life as well. And like, I'd be lying if I said I was like always at this high energy and stuff like that. And I think one of my takeaways from that as well was, I was getting a little bit concerned this week that we might have been taking on too much. And I was just like, shit, maybe we're spreading our brain bandwidth a little bit wide.
Never.
Yeah, I know. And this is why I'm very grateful that we have this partnership to bounce off each other with, because I was thinking, okay, not let's scale back, but let's keep everything within our control right now, whereas you're like, nah, let's keep going up more and more. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then I sort of like, sort of had that moment listening to this, and it's just like, okay, cool. I was thinking too small scale, and I was thinking immediate of what would, generate some income and stuff like that. Whereas a really good takeaway I got from listening to Grant Cardone was like, he's not aiming to be rich. He's aiming to be wealthy. And there's a big difference, like rich is like all these little short get rich quick schemes, and like, a quick bounce in money doesn't mean you can sustain it. And I think that relates back to being a music artist as well, is having one track take off, or, you're an influencer that becomes a DJ, and then all of a sudden you do one tour and it's like bang, and then all you got all this coming in. Like, how do you sustain that? And it's just like, and then that kind of went full circle for me. It was just like, okay, that's exactly everything we're doing at OSO right now is about wealth and longevity. It's not about this quick get rich quick scheme, or like this let's get rich, or like let's just do this to get to that point. It's like, no, we're setting up all our nets right now. And that's why it probably, from an outsider's perspective, this business kind of probably, I was trying to explain to someone this week, like, what we do, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, today we're recording a podcast. We're printing a jumper for a video shoot, and it's just like, what the hell?
Yeah, what are you doing?
What the hell are you guys doing? Like, focus on music. And it's like, nah, like, I've done that for years, and it's just like, now it's like, okay, cool, how can we, capitalize on everything and, like, create everything as a product and come and grow and, like, really bring it up. So
and I think to relate that specifically to the music industry, I was listening to a podcast this morning actually, where I believe it's Gareth Emery was on there, and he was essentially talking about how, he's been in the industry for years and years, and he's built a loyal fan base where it hasn't just been one spike up because he's just released one banger. It's been a lot of music over time. And then he was comparing himself. Then they asked a question of, like, do you get pissed off essentially if, some new guy that's just released one big hit is then billed above you on the tour poster? And he's like, well, yeah, I used to, but now he's like, I don't care, because I know that guy's not going to be there next year, because unless they do something fantastic and keep going, they're going to drop back off, and I'm still going to be in my same spot. And it's one of those things where it's like, he said, you can, if you get a lot of fans quickly, you can lose them just as quickly. But if you slowly increase those fans, unless you do something ridiculously stupid, you're not going to just drastically fall off, because that doesn't happen.
Yeah. It's like they're with you for the ride, and like, and that's it. And that's like the coolest thing, like, for whoever is actually listening to us right now, like, thank you for being day ones, and like, you're along with the ride. We're like,
not stopping. We're
not
going
stopping,
to the top.
man. Like,
good luck anyone coming against us.
I love it, man. Like, you could look at the stats and you could get disheartened, or you could do this and do that. But I think we're just, I don't know, we're so in the future with our thinking that we're not really even paying attention to, like, how many likes did this get? Or, oh, this didn't hit well. It's just like, okay, this is setting up for this in the future. And like, it can be so, I guess, without being on tour, for me, I struggle a little bit, I guess, on a personal level of, like, I feel really boxed in when I have to be in one location, and I have to, like, I'm not like, I don't know. It's very, very hard to explain, but I feel like I can get a little bit trapped in my own environment. And like, that's the thing. But luckily when we're in here, the sky's the limit, and we can really, like, sort of dial in and be like, okay, this is where we want to be. So just listening to these things and stuff like that has been something that's really pulled me out this week a lot, like, especially the Grant Cardone thing. And we listen to other podcasts as well, and just other things to put a little bit of perspective on the world. Because if you're like me and you get in them states where you just feel stuck and you feel like you're doing all this for nothing, and then you're checking your bank and you're like, oh shit, like, it can be a struggle, but it's just like, okay, no, there is light at the other side. And I even have to remind myself, like, I'm probably going to listen to this on one of my down days and be like, you said that, so hold yourself accountable.
Sounds good.
Damn. Yeah, you better get your ass up. Like, let's go. So yeah, that's been definitely one of the things that's been a mindset shift for me, and I think for you also this week is just like a different sort of thing. And I think we should touch on something that within the 10X stuff with the Grant Cardone and stuff. It's just like, it's one thing to be, okay, let's work 10 times harder. Let's go 10 times better at this. Let's be 10 times better at this. And this is something that I didn't factor in at all, is the adverse side of the 10X rule, which is probably going to take 10 times longer than you expect.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think that was a real moment for me as well this week, because I was just like, fuck, we should have already had this done. Like, it was like, I think it was And we'll actually talk about this next, is the OSO Sounds and stuff. And it's just like, this should have been already performing at this level and it's not. And I'm like, why isn't it? And I'll like get frustrated because I'm like, we've put so many hours into it, but it's not performing at where I think it should be.
Yeah.
Just yet. But it's exactly that thing that puts some perspective on it. It's like, it's probably going to take 10 times longer. It's probably going to be 10 times harder.
Yeah.
So you just got to counteract that with your work.
100%. And I think it also comes down to the 10x thing is like, okay, well, a lot of people fall in the normal category, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and society kind of rewards normality to an extent.
Yeah.
But what I interpret the 10x rule is, work 10 times harder, do 10 times more, but also do stuff that people aren't willing to do.
Yeah.
So whether that's, getting up an hour early, or, meeting with someone for coffee for 10 minutes, or getting on a plane to go do this, or go do a music video, or, create a website, or, it can be any number of things, but it's, pushing that boundary to push yourself above normality and getting towards, extraordinary. And I think that's the thing that we're pushing at the moment, is ensuring that, hey, like, maybe not everything we're doing is hitting, but we're doing stuff that people wouldn't do and they can't do, or they would never put the effort in to do.
Or they just look at it and put it in the too hard pile. Like, it's like that. And like, that's actually something else. It's like, you wouldn't like put up on a billboard, like, who wants to be average? Like, come sign up to our course, or, some shit like that. It's like, we're not aiming for averages. We're aiming for something that is, exponentially larger than what.
Well, exactly to that point is, hey, if we were, happy with normality and just want to make a bit of money, then sure, Jake, see you later, go on tour, I'll chill here, I'll collect my little bit of money, and I'll do a little bit of socials on the side, and I'll post, there's Jake at his show, here's some footage from someone that was at the show, it was cool. But no, like, that's been done by everyone millions of times, and like, yes, we've done that shit before, like, that's happens, but like, we're taking action to get out of that, and that's the biggest thing is, hey, it might not work for the first bit. We might get there and be like, shit, this is a lot harder than we expected, which is most likely going to happen.
I expect that to happen.
Which is most likely going to happen. Because I've talked to people like Damon, who we've had on the podcast, and I know how hard he works to edit videos after the shoot, and I don't have nearly as much experience as him, so it's gonna be interesting.
Well, nearly as much. You have an iPhone, Andy. What do you mean, bro? Like,
no, but like, when he's sitting there after a show, I know I see him up super late. That guy hustles hard, so mad respect. So I don't know where I was going with this, but it's like...
No, definitely on that point. It's like, we're going to incur them problems. And I guess that's sort of almost what we're looking at as well. And I think that put perspective on the things this week is like, expect 10 times the problems as well. Like, you're going to get in the club, you're like not going to know the aperture settings. I don't even know what that word means.
Yeah, I still don't know what it means.
I don't know either, bro, but we're going to figure it the fuck out because that's just what we do.
We got a week and a half.
Yeah, we haven't even bought the camera yet. So like, it's going to be all them settings of setting things up and stuff like that, but we're definitely not afraid to look for it. I know it's all going to be online, or if we're lucky enough to have someone like Damien who's willing to help us out, and Damien, please help us out.
Please.
So it's going to be a wild ride, but exactly to that point, we're not trying to be just another cookie cutter act or just another agency. Not that we're an agency at all, but we're not trying to just fall into that category of like, hey, here's the product. There you go. It's just like, here's the product, but here's this, here's that. Like, here's like, holy shit, we've just created this thing that's like, huge. Great example, Marshmallow and Shaleezy. Shaleezy is Marshmallow's manager. Geez, that was a mouthful and it shouldn't have been.
Got there.
But just looking back on that, like, if any aspiring managers, producers, DJs or anything want to check out a really good podcast, Short Story Long, hosted by Drama, the episode with Mo Shaleezy on it is incredible. Like, I don't want to dive into his story too much, but it is such an incredible story of how he's taken essentially a concept, created a brand, and just how he stitched it all together. And then everything they did, it wasn't just like, oh, hey, this guy started at the bottom of the poster and now he's working it up. Like the Gareth Emery thing, like, he did build his following. Yeah. But Marshmallow went a different marketing method, but also had the work to all back that up. It wasn't just like a marketing stunt.
Built the legitimate fans to justify it before he came out as an act.
Exactly, man, exactly. And it wasn't like, I can't wait till the time that someone goes, oh, you're an overnight success. It's just like, I can't wait for that moment because it's like, damn, dude, like, have we actually done it? Because, man, we're working. So,
But Far out, 100%. And actually on that, another thing we've been doing this week, or working towards this week, it's on the board, is how we're leveling up the imagery for J-Dub.
Yeah.
So we've been talking for a while about how we're going to, incorporate more visual elements into your shows. Obviously, would be depending on the venues, because not everyone will have stuff that we can use.
And stuff like that.
Exactly,
yeah.
but how do we, best, I don't know. I'll let you talk about it because you have the vision in your head opposed to...
Yeah. Like, I guess, like, my artistic vision for the J-Dub project is kind of like, not like going to the extent of Excision where the visuals are the show, but it's just like, it needs to tie back into the brand. So say if it's at a venue that's like, a big venue that's used to a certain genre of music being played, it's just like, no, for that night when I'm coming through town, like the theming, it like changes the whole theme. It'll change the whole atmosphere of the room. So if you got these dark visuals and you got like, because we're working on, essentially, I do still like my logo, like the J-Dub logo, but from that I want to do, or not what I want to do, it's what we're getting created at the moment, is like a J as like a little spin-off of that, and then that can be like, animated into 3D renders and just other cool stuff that can really tie in. And if you imagine if you're in a venue that doesn't really have a theme, it's just a nightclub, just open plan, you imagine you got TVs all around the venue and stuff like that, and a big LED screen or something like that up behind the DJ booth or something, then you imagine if you had like synchronized visuals all on all that, it's going to change, it's going to set the whole mood, and it's going to like artistically make sense for the set. And like, that's what I really want. I don't want like some flamboyant flowers and colors and colorful pineapples and shit behind me when I'm playing. Like, that's not me. That's not what I do. So why should we conform to that, whatever the club just has on the system? It's just like, nah, we're going to create this and it's going to be an experience. And it just goes back to that thing again. It's of like, we just want to deliver like the ultimate. So when you book a show, you get a show. You don't just get a DJ. You get a show.
You don't get a DJ rocking up 5 minutes before the set.
Yeah.
After they've already drunk their bottle and leaving 2 seconds after their set.
Yeah, which we've seen a lot lately, which is pretty funny. Just on a
side note.
on a side note, which is pretty hilarious. But so we're really trying to level up every aspect of what we're doing, and I guess why, to me, I don't know why I feel the constant need that I need to justify to people that like we're working on music too, but. It's, there's just so many other aspects that...
But it's not even like you haven't. Like, we literally you have yourself, even more, like 4 or 5 tracks already completed, ready to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so we do have a rollout ready.
So it's like, whilst you might not have spent time this week working on music, like, you've spent a lot of time the past couple of months ensuring that you have that all ready to go.
Yeah, I needed that because I do get into these mindsets, again, like that boxed-in thing I was just talking about before, where I feel like I'm not achieving. And I think I'm the biggest overachiever ever, and it like can weigh on me a little bit. Like,
look at the ego in it.
Yeah, unreal. Nah, but that's pretty funny, man. But like the other side of what we've been doing as well is a lot of what 17 Online actually started to be, and that was like going to be a full production stuff. And we haven't steered from that. We've just been super busy with the artist project and elevating every other part of the brand and stuff. Because I think. Probably was a little bit naive when we first launched it. We thought we could launch and like, people would, buy the sample pack products, or people would enroll in the courses and stuff like that. And
it has happened to an extent.
It has. But I guess like everything, I had very high expectations. Yeah. But in saying that, like it still did perform well. Yeah. And I was just like, okay, this is dope. But it's like, okay, now we got to focus on the brand and we got to like build that. And it's just like even little things like this podcast and stuff like that is, building rapport with people and just building a more consistent base. Like you wouldn't want to buy something off a random stranger in the street. So it's like, okay, everything we're doing is for longevity. So so we've really put a lot more time back into the back end of that. So that's been more your field, bro. So break it down. What have we done? What have you done?
Jeez. Well, basically we've essentially, because we've run into issues with the website, 17 Line, it works, it functions, but the problem is we've had issues when we want to market products on the website just due to the setup of it. So essentially what we're doing is creating a separate website that's going to be linked to 17 Online, so when you can still access everything, called OSO Sounds. So that's almost completed now. We're just waiting for external coding basically to finish off the audio aspects of the website, because for me it was out of my realm and it wasn't worth spending 300 hours. Yeah, 300 hours in learning to code.
Yep.
So yeah, I reckon that'll probably. I believe that will probably be out by the end of next week.
Yep.
Fingers crossed. We'll see. Now I've put myself on a timeline. It's got to come out.
Good, man. Good. I like that.
But essentially what we're doing is we're selling all of our sound products on this new website that will be linked. And why we've done this is because it's just a lot more flexible and allows us to advertise a lot more efficiently and effectively. Previously, if you know about Facebook pixels and that sort of thing, essentially it's just a good tool that allows you to retarget people that visit your website so you can narrow down your niche and get more essentially bang for your buck with marketing dollars. We're having issues with that on 17 Online just because of the back end and things weren't linking properly and that sort of thing. But we know using this new software, Shopify, which we've talked about previously a little bit, it's going to link up a lot better. So essentially we'll be selling sample packs, preset packs, potentially plugins in the future. We'll work on that.
Plugins. We're working on a plugin at the moment as well, which is, it's cool. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to give it away.
But also in the meantime, also some racks for Ableton and that sort of thing as well. And a few other things, basically anything producer related on there. And you'll also be able to purchase the courses that we have coming up as well on there. And we also have, when we launch the website, we'll be releasing a new pack, which is, I won't give away exactly who it is, but it's a pretty big artist in the industry.
He's signed records to Spinning
Next.
Monster Cat.
Just signed a couple records to Monster Cat, so I can't say who it is yet because that hasn't been officially announced. Like, hasn't been announced yet.
True.
But he's got some records coming out on Monster Cat. He's had some, actually Musical Freedom is released on Musical Freedom as well. He's had some collaborations and worked with a lot of huge artists in the industry. So, and his sound is very unique, and a lot of people have copied him, and I will say that openly. I think a lot of people are copying.
I think a lot of people are trying to really emulate his sound right now. And he's from what country? Spain. Yeah. So he's really cool. We jumped on a Zoom call with him as well, and even just chatting to him on a music producer level, like this dude is super dialed in. Like I was just like, okay, cool. Like he sent us the sample pack for us to review, and I was like, how the hell did you get this sound from this thing? It was like one of his processing things that he did to some vocal chops which are in this pack, and I was like, wow, like this is actually insane. So he's a very dialed in producer, and these are some very unique samples. Like I haven't heard anything like it on Splice or anything like that. So, shout out the niche group that's gonna actually get these samples. You're going to have some really cool shit
100%
to work with.
And actually on that note, the way I met this guy, I keep trying not to say the name, was through Discord groups and stuff. So want to reiterate, if you want to meet producers and collaborate with other people, or even have conversations, or just be amongst and get a bit more industry knowledge, look on Discord groups. Like almost all the big labels have their own Discord group now, and jump in there and you can, just chat with people that are working on stuff every day. We have our own Discord group as well that hasn't been extremely active at the moment, which is kind of my bad. I've been slacking a little bit on it. We've been so busy with everything else, but we'll be back on there soon. We're still active, but just haven't been posting as regularly. But jump on. We have a lot of producers even in just our Discord group, which is linked on 17 Online, so you can join through there. But great way to meet people, and we'll be hosting some events either on there or through our YouTube, but utilizing Discord in the future, just for people to meet each other and have a chat. Just a good spot to.
It's a better platform to really work on. Like I've always posted in producer groups and stuff like that, and you see it so much. Like I honestly think producer groups on Facebook now are almost a fucking meme.
Yeah, it is a little bit to an extent. Yeah.
Like people just either comment, post actual memes, or they just troll each other in the comments, and it's just like, man, none of this is constructive. Whereas I've been in some genuine Discord ones, and you get feedback, and it's just like, oh, okay, like that snare kind of sucks, or this thing isn't hitting through properly, or it's like genuine production advice. So I'd urge any aspiring producers or established producers even, jump in these groups, man. Like you're never too good to learn something. So
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Well, geez, I think we've covered a lot. How are we going for time?
Yeah, dude, we're sitting at 40 minutes, so that's actually pretty good. We were forecasting about 45 minutes for this this session. So, moving forward, we got this weekend is going to be a pretty crazy one with everything going on with the video shoots. So, I'm looking forward to checking back in next week and reviewing it, and you can hear the ups. And hopefully the minimal downs.
Oh, jeez.
And then we'll be preparing, because the following weekend we have the first touring show in a while,
Yeah.
with Andy coming on as TM as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's going to be a lot of prep work, and I'm really looking forward to going in next week.
It's gonna be a massive learning curve, but also lots of fun, and I can't wait to problem solve on the spot because it's gonna be a lot of that, I think.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, follow us on all the socials. So Instagram, 17online.com. No, it's not. I got it wrong already. Damn it.
We got like 30 Instagram accounts.
Yeah,
It's hard.
no. All right, so Instagram is at 17online. Also, for anyone interested in our next drop, which is dropping in 2 weeks, which is all the clothing and all the cool shit that we get up to, OSO MVMT.
Yeah.
And also, if you want to check our management page, a follow, so you can keep up to Andy troubleshooting cameras and
Yeah, I'll
whatever
post
else.
some stories on the first show.
It should be epic. So that's OSO MGMT as well. And as always, mine is at JW Music, and Andek is annoyingly at Andek with a billion underscores.
No, only 2.
Oh, it's 2?
One underscore was taken. We'll see. We're trying to level up the Andek Instagram handle. So if anyone can get it for me, I'll pay you $5.
Yeah, game on. Game on. All right. So till next time,
Peace out.
see y'all.